All right, everybody, we're moving on to the last problem. So this is our first one of these vertical curve problems. So as you can see, I started filling out some of the important bits of information that are kind of given to us right off the bat, right? So a couple of things to note to key in here right off the very beginning is the overall distances here. So that's this piece. Where did I find that? Well, they gave us the PVI station of 28 plus 0, 0, and they gave us 400 feet, 400 feet. So we know the overall length is 800. And from that, we can derive that start station and the end station. Now, that 24 plus 0, 0 is just 28 plus 0, 0 minus 400, and then plus 400. So that gives us that 24 plus 0, 0 and 32 plus 0, 0. So if you'll notice, I pre-filled this chart out here. I station starting at 24 plus 0, 0 and ending at 32 plus 0, 0. Now you will notice right away I have some stuff that's already filled out here. So how did I get that initial tangent elevation and the ending tangent elevation? And also this midpoint. So this midpoint here is a given. So this is midpoint. They gave us that because that is that. Okay, so now the beginning is going to be really simple. So we know that was coming down at negative 1.5. So to be able to calc that, all I do is negative 1.5% times 400 feet. Equals negative 6, right? And then plus, same thing here. Negative 2.5% times 400 feet equals what? Everybody get negative 10? All right, perfect. So now all we do is we add those numbers to the one they gave us, and that's how we get that guy and that guy. And also that guy and that guy. Because one thing to note here is right at those tangent points, the curve elevation and the tangent elevation are the same because they are the same, right? There's no difference. However, along that ordinate, every 100 feet that we go along here, so that's 400, that's 200, that's 300, that's 100. So all we're going to be doing is calculating that tangent offset along here. So first things first, let's go ahead and calculate the rest of these tangent elevations. All we're going to be able to do that is by very simply doing our our same formula, right? So we know along the tangent, 25 plus 0, 26 plus 0, 0, 27 plus 0, 0, 28, 29, 30, 31. Now I'm going to do the first one, and then I'm going to make you guys do the rest on the rest of the video, okay? Or maybe I'll just do the midpoint one. I'll do the first one at the very least, right? So one thing we can do is actually calculate the high point. So that's that simple formula here. That's that slope, absolute value of the slope over that r distance. So that's where that was derived from, was this formula. So the r equals negative 2.5% minus 1.5% over 800, and that r value is 0.0005. And then we take that initial slope over that, and that's how we got to that number. So I know my high point now is going to be at 300 feet from the start, which that's 100, 200, 300. So that should be my high point here. So I know that's going to be my high point. I know this is my PVI because they tell me it's my PVI from right up here, right? Try not to junk this thing up too much. And then that first calculation is going to be pretty simple, right? So to be able to get that first one that we're looking at, all of them are going to be derived from basically the same formula, right? And that's what that's going to look like in a calculator. We have that G1 minus G2 times the distance squared over 2 times the length. So that bottom number in this instance is always going to be 1600, right? So that first one is minus 0.04 times 100. We're going to zoom in on this big time. Squared. Divide that by 1600, and that's negative 0.25. So that first number we would add on that tangent offset would be 0.25 feet. And then we know, because we've already pre-filled this one out. Remember this elevation here came from this formula. We had the known elevation. We had 100 feet times 0.015% equals what? That's how we got that initial. Okay? And we just run that all along here. So that goes up to the high point and then back to the low point. So that initial is 216.05. The next one is like 217.55. And again, because that number is 1.5 feet. Until you get to the PVI. And then it's 100 times negative 0.025 or negative 2.5, right? And then those go feed there. So you guys should be able to fill the rest of those out. Now we've done our first ordinate number here. So I'm going to do, like I said, I'm only going to do the first one. We'll highlight this in these colors. So we've calculated that. We've calculated that. Now that minus that equals our curve elevation to 15.80. And then the rest of this is just going to get worked out in the exact same way. So I don't want to do the entire thing for you, but that should give you a really good foundation on exactly what all these numbers are doing. And how to calculate along that for both the tangent offset and the curve elevation. And if we do all that, we should be able to fill all the chart, and we'll have completed steps 1 through 8.